Good afternoon, everyone. This is Romona coming to you from Social Media How-Tos with Romona. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to schedule posts on X, formerly known as Twitter, and I would have previously said how to schedule tweets on Twitter. As many of you know, you can no longer schedule tweets or posts on X. However, Tweetdeck still does exist. Though Tweetdeck exists, you have to have a subscription, which you would pay for, in order to use Tweetdeck, which is now called XPro. Now, if you find that confusing, you may want to come along with me as I log into this new XPro experience to see what Tweetdeck looks like now. It's something that I used many years ago, but I stopped scheduling tweets there because there was a scheduling option on the Twitter platform. The first thing you want to do is type tweetdeck.twitter.com in your browser's address bar, hit enter. Next, you'll be taken to XPro's website. And what you'll want to do is go ahead and click login, and it will bring you to a login box. Go ahead and put your phone, email, or username in the box. Click next, enter your password. If you have two-factor authentication set up, it'll send you a code. If you don't, it should let you write in. But what we're going to do now, we'll head over to the Tweetdeck account that I have open. I've already entered my username and password. So here we have it, ladies and gentlemen, XPro. This is what it looks like when I log in. And because I have not been here since it changed to XPro, all of my columns and everything that I had in Tweetdeck are no longer there. So what you'll see over on the right-hand navigation is my handle. You'll see there's a blue post button. There's a place for me to add my columns. There's a place to search. Here's where I can add my decks. And then there's a personal settings tab, which I have not tried any of this. So you're going through this with me. We're doing this at the same time. And then you'll see more in the bottom left corner. And you'll see the XPro logo also on the bottom. And then to the right of all that information, you see Let's Get You Set Up. Customize your XPro experience. Choose the column width, color, text, and media size that is right for you. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do first. Next, if you're seeing what I see, you're going to click on Open Display Settings, or you can skip this step. I'm going to go ahead and click on Open Display Settings. This brings me to a place where I can customize my view, manage my content size, color, and background. The first thing that you'll see is what's called Visual Scale, where you can choose how large you want your font. If you want it bigger, you're just going to click on any of these circles. I'm going to bring mine back down to default, which is fine for me. And then you can select your column width. So again, you'll see columns in Tweetdeck. Right now, mine is set on medium. As you can see, the columns behind here, they're set on medium. If I click on narrow, that's going to make them skinnier. And then you can click on wide. I'm going to leave mine on medium for now. If I get too many columns, I might come in and change it to narrow. If I have a few columns, I may change it to wide. Next, you'll see default media preview. So any images that you see, you can make them small or you can make them standard. I'll leave it at the default. And then you can choose your color. Now, on all of my Twitter accounts, I have my color set based off of my brand colors. So this blue is fine for me. And then you can choose your background. The default is white. You can do dim. As you can see, it changed in the background, so you can get an idea of what that looks like. And then you can do the dark, where you select lights out. I'm going to go ahead and change it back to default. So if you noticed, I forgot to mention this, but if you didn't notice, in the bottom right-hand corner, your messages will pop up. So you see messages over here, bottom right corner. This is asking you if I want to show the message tab. I can turn that off and the message tab has gone away. I personally like to have the message tab. And then it asks you if you want to show hover cards. So, you know, when you move your mouse over something and a little box or text shows, that's what a hover card is. And it's asking, do I want to show the hover cards? And I'm saying yes to that as well. So once you finish, there is no save button. So I'm going to go ahead and click this X in the upper left-hand corner. And so now it takes us to the next step. The next step is now let's add your columns. So it says save time by importing your existing search, list, and profile columns. You won't be able to copy these over later. So I'm going to go ahead and import my columns. And let's see, it's been so long. It's been years since I've been in Tweetdeck. So I'm interested in seeing. My whole world has changed since then. Oh, and actually it says, we couldn't import your columns. Only search, list, and profile columns can be imported. And then it asked me to add a home column instead. It will ask you if you want to add a starter deck or start from scratch. Now, if you had those columns that they were able to import, which for some reason they couldn't import mine. I had a bunch of stuff saved in Twitter, so I'm not sure what that's about. But if your columns imported, that's great. If they did not and you're seeing what I see, we can go ahead and either start from scratch or add a starter deck. And I'm going to go ahead and click add a starter deck, which I believe is going to add the home column for me, and which it did. And so now what you'll see is the home column, which is your news feed, popped up for me. So you'll see people who I'm following, and you know that it's people that you're following by this tab at the top. And then if you wanted to, you could click on For You, which would just show you things, that X thinks that you're interested in. To the right of the home column, you're going to see your profile if you have the same situation that I have where it didn't import my columns. So now it's showing me my own profile over to the right. And then the tabs that are under my profile, where it says my profile, are post, replies, highlights, media, and likes. So these are going to be all the things that I've liked, my media, my highlights, my replies, and my post. So now it brings us to the next step, which says, now let's have a look around. Learn some handy tips to get started. So you can skip this step if you want, but once again, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the tour. So go ahead and click take the tour if you're coming with me. So it shows us this add column button here is where you make a column. You can customize your experience by adding a variety of columns such as searches, top articles, DMs or direct messages, list, and more. So those are what will be in your columns. Those are the columns that you can create. Let's go ahead and click next. Next is telling us that we can organize our columns with decks. To describe decks, what it's saying is imagine having multiple desktops on XPro. Tune out the noise and only focus on the topics and tools you need when you need them. So when you create decks, you're tuning out all the noise and you're just focusing on the topics and tools you need. So let's go ahead and click next. Now it's saying that we can move a column. So we will click on these dots to drag and drop a column anywhere on our deck. Let's go ahead and click next. And then we can customize our columns by clicking on this gear icon in the upper right side of the column. So as you can see, both of my columns have a gear icon. So every column will have its own gear icon. It says to roll over the top of a column for options like change column size, delete a column, order post by top or latest, use advanced search tools, and more. Let's go ahead and click next. And now it's saying that this more button in the bottom left, if you click on that, you'll get tips and settings. So it says go here to manage your text, change display settings, discover keyboard shortcuts and take the tour again. So that's good that we can take the tour again if we ever get lost. So we're going to go ahead and click got it. So with that, that ends the tour. So next you'll notice that that panel disappeared that was giving us the tour, and it added a notifications column for me. So in my notifications column, you'll see all of my notifications from people that I follow and people that are just posting, because you'll also see random stuff on Twitter in your notifications. Then if you want to only see things from verified accounts, you can click on the verified tab. And if you want to see mentions, like people who mentioned you, you can click on that tab as well. So now let's talk about that left-hand column again. Let's look over here where you see your Twitter handle. Go ahead and click on the three dots. And what this will allow you to do is add an existing account. So if you have multiple Twitter accounts like I do, you can add those here. You can view delegate accounts. So if you delegate access to anyone on Twitter, you will be able to see those people. So the delegate account, it would be much like if you're familiar with admins on Facebook. If you have somebody that's managing your account, these would be the delegated accounts. We're going to go ahead and click on this just so we're clear about what all of these are. So I'm going to click on add an existing account, and this should take me to log into my, yes. So what it will do is it's going to ask me to enter the phone, email, or username of any accounts that I want to add. None of my clients have opted into a verified account. So I'm hoping, though they are not verified, I will still be able to manage their accounts. I'm not going to do that right now, but again, if you want to, if you have multiple Twitter accounts, you can go ahead and add them by logging into each one of them. So, and I'm sure once you log into one, you'll probably have to come back over here, click on the three dots, and add another existing account. But what we're going to do next is let's go ahead and click on view delegate account. So if you look over here to the right, it says delegate. Share an account with people who have delegated roles. It's just like Twitter Teams, and it's just like the Facebook admin option. So it says you can allow others to invite you to their account. When this setting is on, people can invite you to share their account. And then under there, you'll see your delegations, accounts delegated to you, and members you've delegated. So I'm going to click here. It says accounts delegated to you. As a member, you can send direct messages, publish posts, and create lists as well as view them. Admins can also, now see here, they're calling them admins. So admins and delegates are the same thing. Admins can also invite or remove contributors to the account and view post analytics. I'm going to hit the back arrow and I'm going to click on members you've delegated. So it says members you've delegated invite others to act on behalf of your account and manage account roles. Members can send direct messages, publish posts, and create lists as well as view them. So again, this is just like having an admin on your account. So you can be an admin on other people's accounts and you can have admins on your account, basically is what these are. And then here's where you would invite a member. I'm going to hit the back arrow. And so let's go back over to the three dots. And then it gives you the option to log out. So if you're looking how to log out of Tweetdeck, this is how you're going to do it. Or XPro, excuse me. And excuse me if I've called X Twitter as well. So I'm just getting used to calling X Twitter and Tweetdeck XPro. I'm quite sure pretty soon we'll all be very familiar with all of that. The next thing I'm going to do is click on the blue post button. And then here's where you're going to type your post. So if you're on Twitter, most likely you're very familiar with posting. So what you're going to do is post your or type your text in here. We have the option for everyone can reply, or you can click here and change that to only accounts you follow can reply, only verified accounts can reply, only accounts you mention can reply. And then under there, you'll see where you can add your media, your images and your videos. You can add GIFs. You can take a poll or send out a poll. You can include emojis in your tweet. And here is where we will schedule. That's the tool and the feature that brought me here today, because I can no longer schedule from X. So that's why I'm here today. And then you can still tag a location, and then you can also format your text. So you can do bold and you can do italic. So now under the blue post button, which is grayed out now because I have this column already open. So let's go ahead and click on add column just to see what that does. And then it gives me options. I can search for something to add as a column. And then we have the option to choose one of these things that are listed. So let's go through all those. So we can add a home timeline or your news feed, which is already here. So if it's already there, you don't need to add it. You can add list, where you can view your own or other people's list. You can add communities, and I'm not going to go through all of these, like click on all of them, because this video will be extremely long. So you can add communities, which says view the communities that you're a part of. So Twitter has communities now. And then you can also search and find what you're looking for. You can add a messages column where all of your messages will show up in a column. You can do the Explore tab. So let's click on the Explore tab. I know you're probably familiar with that. If you're familiar with Twitter, that's where they have all the latest trending news. So now I clicked on that and it added an Explore tab. So let's go back over to add column. If I wanted to, I could click here to add top articles. You can also click here and add profiles. So you can find a profile and see what they've been up to. So you can add a column that's full of people's profiles. So if there are certain people that you want to follow or certain news outlets that you want to see what they're posting, you would just add those to the profiles column. Then there's a notifications. You can click on that and keep up with your notifications and mentions, and they would show up over here on the right. You can also add a column for your scheduled posts, which is definitely one I would want. So right now it says you don't have any scheduled posts. When you do, you'll find them here. So now I have scheduled posts, explore, home, and then my profile is open over here to the right. So you see how all of these columns are getting a little bunched up? That's why it's going to allow you to switch to narrow, the default column size, and then you have the wide. So if I had this many columns, I would actually probably go with the narrow display. So let's go ahead and click on add column again. And then you could have a column called draft posts. So all your draft posts would show up in there. And then because we can do bookmarks now on X, your bookmark posts can also be a column. So I'm going to go ahead and click on explore again. I just want to see if that column disappears when I click on it, or if I have to go to the gear to delete it. So I clicked on explore. So what it did was it added another explore column, which I don't want. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this gear icon. And then I'm going to click, it gives you options. So you can either make the column narrow, or you can change it to medium or wide. You can rename the column from explore to something else. If you want to do that, you would just turn this button on and change it to, I'm going to call it trending. So you see how it changed to trending up here from explore to trending. And then I can click on explore settings. So I could change location and personalize what I'm seeing in the trending column. So now it's asking me, do I want to show content in this location? When this is on, you'll see what's happening around you right now. Or I can uncheck it and I will see everything that's going on in the world. I'm going to leave it checked. So what we're here for is to actually delete this column. So I'm going to go ahead and click on delete column. And then I'm going to go to this explore tab, and I'm going to delete this one as well because I don't want Explorer, because I am going to be here to work, not to read the news, because that Explorer column can be very, very distracting. So next, over on the left, we're going to click on search, but it's just giving me some random saved searches. So I'm going to go ahead and click on just one of these to see, and then it just opened up the search to the right, and it gives me this information about this Calvin Walsh. By me clicking search, and I'm still on the add column section, it added this as a column. So what I'm going to actually do is click on this gear icon, and I'm going to delete this column. So I didn't realize, I thought I was just searching, but it actually was adding a column. So I'm going to delete that column. I'm going to delete this other Explore column. And so now I see my columns again. So I see my notifications, I see my profile, I see home, and I see my scheduled posts. And by the way, to get back to those, what I'm doing is I'm just using the bottom gray scroll bar just to scroll to see. So I wouldn't like my columns being all the way on the right and I can't see them. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and click more and click on display. And then I'm going to make my columns narrow. And then I'm going to hit the X. So you can do the same if you want. And it says apply changes to existing columns. And I'm going to say yes, change all columns to narrow. And you see how now I can see all of my columns without scrolling. So now it's up to you how many columns you have. I like to see everything. I don't want to have to scroll to the right to see things. So I probably won't have more than 4 columns. So next, over on the left, let's go ahead and click on New Deck. Check out and see what this does. So let's call this deck, let's say it's News. You can choose an emoji for your deck. I'm going to click on the emojis and I'm going to type in News. And then I'll just click on this little newspaper. And so I'm going to click Done Next. So now you'll see that the deck has dropped under where it says Decks. And you see I have a news deck. And I'm going to click on Edit Deck, which is this little wrench. And then it just brings you back here where you can edit the deck. So now in this particular deck, we can add columns. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a column. And let's say, I'm trying to think of a nice news outlet. So let's just type in Financial Times. And as you can see, I just typed in financial. I can go ahead and click on Financial Times, FT. So now I have the Financial Times column under news. If I wanted to add another news outlet, I would just go ahead and type in, let's say, I'm trying to think of one that's not going to have any crazy stuff on there. So let's do business news. There we go. So far what we did was we clicked on the 3 dots. We talked about adding an existing account. We talked about adding admins or delegates. We talked about how you can log out here. We talked about creating columns, which will be the columns that we see by default when we log into XPro. We talked about searching for things to add to our columns. We talked about creating decks. And as you can see, these are our decks. This is my first deck over here, which is called News. And this deck falls here. If you wanted to, you could create a new deck. And I could call that X. Let's say X. And then we'll click here. And we'll just do X. And click on that. And then we'll say done. So then I'll add a column. And I'll type in X here. And let's just click there. Add another column. We'll do X again. We'll do X business. I didn't realize X had all these accounts. So I'm going to add all the X accounts here. We'll do X again. And this is the main X. And so this is good because now what I would want to actually do is I'm going to scroll over to the left. And then what I would do is want to move X, the main X account, over to the left. So you see now we just use the click on those 6 dots at the top and drag and move the columns, right? So we learn how to do that. And then you notice how now I have 2 decks. I have news and I have X. Let's talk about deleting a deck. Let's see if we can figure that out. So if I click on news, over to the right, you see I can add another column, or I can click here to change the display, meaning that I can make this medium since I only have 2 news items in there, and I can go ahead and click X, and then it asks me if I want to change the column size, and I say yes, so it makes them bigger. And then I'll have to scroll over now to see the settings tool. So I'm going to click edit deck. And then if I wanted to, I could click here to delete this deck. So at the very bottom of the screen, you can delete your deck. Next, I'm going to go ahead and click on more in the bottom left-hand corner. And once again, you can take the tour again. We can click on our settings and privacy. And this is the basic, if you're familiar with the Twitter or X settings and privacy when you set up your account, this is all this is. So you can go through all this if you want to, change your security settings, change your handle under account, your account information, change your password. You can download an archive of your data. You can, I believe, change your subscription if you click on premium. So this is where you manage your subscription, okay? And then there are creator subscriptions. You can click on that to see what that is. You can go through your security, your privacy and safety, your notification settings, accessibility, display, and languages, and then additional resources, which gives you release notes and legal information. So let's go back over and click on more, bottom left corner. And again, here you can manage your decks. So the decks that we just created show up here. And what you can do is, this is good because if you have like 30 decks, you can now just click on more, click on manage decks, and then you can just come through here and, delete, or click on the gear icon to get to the settings of that deck. And you can pin certain decks at the top, which is great because I would like to be able to do that because there's certain information that you might want to see at the very top. Then you can either click on done or click the X over on the left corner. I want to click on more again. And display, we've been here a couple of times where we change the size, width of our decks and the color and all of that. You can also click here for message settings, and then there's a help center. Then there are the keyboard shortcuts. So now let's go ahead and create one quick post just to see what it'll look like when I post it. And the reason why I want to do this is because I don't know if you noticed, but when you post on X, as with when you tweet it, it shows the source of where you tweeted it or posted it from. So, for instance, if you use an aggregator or a tool like Sprout Social, Hootsuite, or any of those, it would say that it was posted by Sprout Social. So I'm going to go ahead and click post just to see if it tells people that I posted this from Tweetdeck. So I'm going to say this is a test post from XPro. Let me get the term right. I keep saying Tweetdeck, but we're going to call it XPro from now on, right? And then let's choose a GIF. And I'm going to do X. And I'll just click here and just select one of these. I don't even know what it does, but okay. So I will use this. And then I'm going to go ahead and click post. It says your post was sent. You have 1 hour to make any edits. And I could have clicked on view, but I moved too slow. So I'm going to go over to X. And as you can see, the tweet is here. Now, what I don't see is that this was posted by XPro. So I don't see that marker on there. So obviously they're not telling people that you're using XPro or TweetDeck. If you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and click on the bell so that you'll receive notifications each time I post a new video. Once again, this is Romona from Social Media How To's with Romona. And with that, I want to say have an amazing day.